All right, so I'm gonna go through my notes here. You guys want to see? Today, I got a whiteboard with some notes here. This video is about the moon and the rays of the moon and how the moon and I'm just breaking down rays. All 7 planets control colors and they produce skin tone in the original bloodlines, right? Still do, right? So when we talk about the moon, we're talking about fair-skinned people or white people, if you would. So each planet, along with producing a skin tone, they have their own function and behavior pattern. So in this video, I'm dropping knowledge pretty much on the uniqueness of Caucasians or white people as a unique race, compared to everyone else, right? So the first thing we want to do is we want to talk about the function of the moon's ability to adapt. Adapting is a strength, right? So remember, before I go any deeper or further, everyone has access to all the planets. The planets are affecting everyone born. It's just that when you are a group of people and a specific planet is targeting or influencing the entire group as a whole, most of the attributes of that planet should play in the behavior patterns of that group of people. So if a person who's not Caucasian, if they have a very strong moon and they have and they live in a country where there are white people, I guarantee you they're going to naturally have thinking patterns that attract Caucasian people or people that are white, not, fair skin to come around them. They're going to be breaking bread with them, might be a female, it's just something that the moon does. The moon has a very unique relationship with Caucasian people, right? The rays of the moon. The moon is very special, right? So the first thing it does is it gives us the ability to adapt to anything. New circumstances, new ideas, new class. Say you're joining a new class and you're uncomfortable. Say you're going to a new environment, you're driving there, or you have choices and you don't know which one to pick. And, you got food choices or options to eat. The moon is the planet that we need. It gives us the courage that we need to take whatever's available, best that's available, and then move forward with it, right? So if I have 3 options for girlfriend and I'm thinking like, they're all about a 6 or so, I'm going to take this and this is the best option for me here. That would be me engaging my moon. My moon is telling me, hey, take this choice because she has, you can adapt to living with her and being with her better than you can adapt with living and being with the other ones, right? So that's a function of the moon, adapting, right? It's a part also rules the feminine psyche, right? And we'll get to that, but it gives people the protection they need in order to move forward. It's something that the moon does. One of its habits, Astronomically, though, this is what's weird. I find this part weird. My teacher doesn't talk about much about this, but astronomically, the moon protects Earth and all people from meteors, right? So on average, more white people should be organically concerned about the material well-being of Earth and any damage that could possibly happen to Earth. Like basically Captain Planet type thinking patterns should creep into the minds and the consciousness of a Caucasian person based upon their relationship with the moon, because that's one of the functions of the moon. If they don't know, the moon, its rotation, its movement protects the Earth from getting hit with meteors or any sort of damage coming from outer space. And that's also, like, I guess you would consider UFOs. So that would mean that white people in general would have a higher capacity to give us protection, or think about protection, create businesses, or run areas of government whose job it is built upon the protection of the environment. That should be something organic with white people. So you know how you watch documentaries, you know, I don't know if there have been any other group of people who have produced the most documentaries about wild animals, ocean floors, and discover and explore areas that like the other mankind or other men just don't have the gumption to do in the volume that Caucasian people do. So that's also a great strength of a white person also coming from the rays of the moon. Because remember, the moon, you know, you have to understand, like, when it comes to nature and protecting Earth, it's going to be organic in the white person's heart to try to spare or find some way to adapt to keep Earth protected at all costs, right? But that's a healthy moon. The other thing is an unhealthy moon, though, because listen, according to spiritual law, the moon has no enemies, right? Meaning that no one is coming out trying to hurt the moon. So as the moon passes through its zodiac, there isn't a sign that it goes into that it has to deal with a planet from planetary rays that's trying to hurt it. So no planets are trying to hurt the moon. The moon has no enemies. The moon is an enemy to other planet, but nothing is an enemy to the moon, right? And this next part about the moon is also cool because astronomically, the moon is the fastest moving planet through the zodiac. It moves the fastest. People say Mercury moves the fastest. They might be in orbit speed, maybe, I don't know, but it can't be through the zodiac. It must be a different sort of measurement they're going by. But in astrology, Mercury is the second fastest moving planet through a sign. The moon is in a sign 2.5, 3 days tops, right? Mercury can be in a sign like 3 weeks. So Mercury's the second fastest moving planet. So think about that, right? So other thing about that would mean that white people in general, and I hate to generalize, but more than average, more so than any other people, would be attracted to doing things that involve a lot of speed. So they would be speed junkies. So you think like NASCAR, Formula One racing, skydiving, flying, the really fast jets or really fast boats. I think the fastest cars, the fastest boats that's been manufactured and produced in the world are all coming from either European Caucasian countries or America. White engineers of some sort created something or is dealing with and involving themselves with something that involves a lot of speed. When I was growing up, I was just a baseball fan. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. Ted Turner was one of my heroes and shit growing up. I love Ted Turner. I got to watch baseball every day in WCW wrestling. And I noticed, like, with baseball, the fastball pitch is something that's pretty incredible. I could list, from Randy Johnson to Mark Wohlers to John Rocker. I could name really fast pitchers all day. We could talk tennis and talk about these tennis players, these white tennis players, like Andrew, what's his name? I forget Andrew's last name, who has that speed on the vault. Hit the ball so hard it went stuck into the clay. You know what I mean? Like, so doing things with speed, there's no refuting that. White people have an advantage, a speed advantage over everyone in that regard. And with that speed advantage, they've also managed to build and maintain kingdoms faster and longer than any other race of people have in history. They're the youngest race, according to the sutras, and they're also, look at the last 500 years, who's been dominating the world, right? And a part of that ability is the speed ability that's given to Caucasian people in their blood based upon their relationship with the moon. All right, this is part one. I don't want to make the video too long. The next section, I'm just going to make a new video so it doesn't go over 10 minutes. So this is part one. Stay tuned for part two.